you are gonna see some cool ass shit.
Yeah, you don't want two flavor flavors.
Heart transplants, brain surgeries. I've seen it all.
Dude, that's fucking dope.
Walk up and just get it, whatever it is.
Yeah, brother.
I'm trying not to laugh, bro, but Josh is fucking killing me.
Guess what Navy SEALs do, motherfucker? They communicate and they're on the same fucking page.
Whoa. Welcome, motherfuckers. We back. Episode 92 coming at you. It's your host, the powerful Zachary Sampson.
Oh.
And Clifford Woodruff, the happy hoodlum himself. I did it in reverse. He wasn't ready.
I can't really flex that good right now.
That's all good. I guess tonight's little topic that we're starting off with is don't let the scales tip. And it just kind of dawned on me reflecting on where I'm at in life and how, you know, when you get out of balance, your program begins to lack in one area or another. And it's okay for it to be thrown off because life's going to constantly keep moving.
Yeah.
But you have to like readjust constantly.
100%.
So I've been doing my real estate schooling stuff. I'm a dad now, so there's that consideration. There's, just I'm going from working part-time to full-time for the next few weeks, but I just finished my real estate schooling. And so now that I'm done with my real estate schooling, I have to prepare for like the final test, right? So I'm doing that while working more hours and trying to make sure that my program doesn't slip with my health, right?
Yeah.
And the stress of some of the shit that's like that I'm juggling has me not sleeping so good, on top of just my regular not sleeping so good. So I keep fucking going to sleep and for a while what I was doing is because my brain has a hard time remembering shit at the end of the day, right?
Mhm.
Especially if I've talked to a ton of people and I've been under lights and there's all kinds of stuff tiring my brain out, right?
Yeah.
I can read stuff and I don't retain it. So I was like, all right, how do I build a program that avoids this? And so I started waking up way early in the morning, like super early,
Mhm.
around like 3 a.m., 4:30 in the morning ish, right? So I would do my schooling, and then I would go to the gym. Then I would go stop by my mom's house, change my clothes so I'm not in my gym clothes. If I have a chance to lay down after I get a little something to eat, I'd lay down for maybe like 15, 20 minutes, just kind of reset myself, and then go to work, come home and handle what I need to handle, for my nightly routine and go to sleep. But now I'm just waking up at like 1 in the fucking morning all the time, and I'm like full of energy. And I'm like, bro, I'm waking up at like evil genius hours, full of energy, and I can't get to the
Fuck,
gym.
bro.
So I'm like, yeah, and I don't got no schoolwork to really do. So I'm like, fuck, I gotta like figure it out, right? And so I'm in this little bit of like readjustment phase. And I think it's just really highlighted to me how um, on the outside, stability might not be as sexy as the reality of stability is. Because,
What's more impressive, real quick, is that stability is not necessarily even like stability, right? It's like discipline, which is what it all comes down to. Because
yeah,
like you can't do, I get it, like you're waking up on accident at 1 a.m., but like you can't do what you're doing without discipline, especially because you've struggled to fucking do the real estate shit for the last 2 years. Like that's
yeah,
discipline.
yeah. I mean, having to go back and restart something that is that tedious, I
And
guess.
another
Oh,
thing, hold on.
yeah.
And another thing, that's extremely motivating to me, by the way. And it's also comforting at the same time. Uh,
What?
the fact that you've spent the last 2 years fighting to do this real estate shit. Because not only is it probably more difficult um, than like the personal training stuff that I'm working on, but I've been super like hard on myself in terms of my progress with it because I've
Hmm.
been slacking so hard on it, and I'm trying to like I've been spending a lot of time trying to figure out the way I should structure my studying, right? And so
Hmm.
I've been like putting so much pressure on myself to get it done as fast as fucking possible. But then when I slow down and I remind myself that there really is not a rush for this to happen and that I can take my time, and even like the fucking one dude that's the closest to me in my life took 2 years to make the fucking test that where you're at now. And so that alone is like motivating, and it's also comforting, and it reduces a lot of my anxiety. So it's fucking big ups, my guy.
Well, thanks, bro. I can tell you, in my experience, what really helped me was working the end from the beginning. And to
Mhm.
me, that means finding your reason why, you know? And having a solid ass reason why, like, I had so many reasons why. I was stuck in bed. I'd been broke for the past like 2 fucking years. All kinds of tragedies in my personal life, and crazy changes then out of nowhere, from going to, while I'm bedridden, finding out that I'm going to be a father, right? Now I got
Yeah.
a time crunch and I had to restart at that point,
Yeah.
right? So what had taken me like a year and a half almost, where I'd forgotten I did it, then all kinds of crazy health shit happened. Then I have this short term memory loss. I forget it. I do it all the way back to where I was and then some. Then it times out. So I have to restart the whole shit, right? And once I'm restarting that, it's like I'm coming out of literally being bedridden and at like the lowest of the low, right?
Hmm.
But I had so many motivating factors that I was like, all right, it allowed me to do this annoying part that's tedious with love. Like it took a level of that discipline and made it easier because I wasn't suffering through it. Like I
Yeah.
wasn't, I was motivating myself in like, me doing this work right now, this book work, is me doing those things that I want to have, living the life that I want to have, you know? And so I was like, all right, I have so much more appreciation for the process now.
Yeah.
I want to learn this so fucking good inside and out. And I'll just take whatever remnants are somehow in my brain from before, you know, and use that as a foundation to build upon as I go into the next phase. Because getting the license is just the start. Like now there's so much more that I can learn, it almost like I went through so much, it broke that fucking lazy bone of wanting to relax, of
Hmm.
wanting the work to stop, where I'm like, fuck it, bro. Fuck me. I will do the work and love this shit. I don't give a fuck if it ever stops.
Yeah.
Rather than me being like, oh, I just wish it would stop. Oh, I'm going to do it to this point and then I can stop and I can relax. Once you just gave up on relaxing, it's almost like I was listening to a podcast with a veteran talking about um, being in combat and being overrun in the
Hmm.
position that he was at. And when he finally got over the fact and accepted, and this is one of the guys, his name's Tom Satterley. He just did podcast with Sean Ryan, and it's the last podcast he's going to do about being in the Black Hawk Down Mogadishu battle, right? And he said he was in Somalia. They're stuck in this house, and there's literally like 1,000 people, and they're just keeping coming, and they keep coming and keep coming, and uh, he finally was like, I came to terms with death. Where it's like, all right, I'm gonna die here. And once I did, my ability to function
Went
just
through the roof.
changed. Yeah. I no longer had this baggage in the back of my mind and this fear of failure. I just embraced the moments of living that I had.
Well, another thing that does, and this goes to like, I've been watching. I actually don't remember which podcast I heard this in.
Mhm.
But I'm sure it was one of the military guys podcasts that are out there. But when you take that away, and even like when you take just the fear of failure away,
Mhm.
you're getting rid of that second of hesitation. You're getting rid of hesitation, which is what it wasn't a podcast, it was a Jocko video. It was like a 1 minute 15-second, like he does these things. I forget the title of them, but he does these things. They're really short videos, like no more than 5 minutes, and they're basically like motivational speeches. They're all side profile in his normal like black and white shit, but side profile. So he's talking not straight at you, but to the side, like to the side of the camera.
Mhm.
And he was given this speech about hesitation and how 1 second can turn into a lifetime. Because if you give yourself 1 second to hesitate, then it becomes 10, and then a minute, and then 5 minutes, and then 10 minutes. And now all of a sudden you're in that lifetime spot of hesitation. And so rather than, if you get rid of that like sense of failure or the fear of death, it gives you the ability to fucking be locked in on it and not hesitate. That's the way I
Ooh,
see it.
you just sparked something in my brain. One other aspect of this is realizing when your action is actually effective and when it isn't. You know, I had to come to terms and not look at failure as defeat,
Yeah.
right? I had to reorganize shit because I'd get to a point where, like, earlier tonight, I've been going and going and making sure every time that I've come home, and I mean, I just did a full day's work. I'm helping people like crazy. We're a little understaffed,
Mm-hmm.
getting busier, and just my brain gets tired now, right? So I'm coming home on a tired brain and sitting down and doing an hour and a half long test. Like these real estate tests are like 100+ questions sometimes,
Yeah.
you know? And so coming home and sitting down and then doing these tests, it made me realize I was like, am I actually, it was a good way to gauge A, my aptitude, right? And B, um, am I able to retain this information? There's times where like I'm sitting here and it's like rather than me just doing this to get through the schooling and then
Mm-hmm.
I get to the test part and I'm so frustrated because I don't know what the fuck it is.
Yeah.
I didn't learn it,
Like it didn't
you know?
stick. It just like you weren't able to recall the information at all.
Yeah, and I was like, so all that effort wasn't effective.
Yeah.
So I just wasted that time. That's like fake progress. I don't want fake progress. I want quality, and it takes the time it takes.
Yeah.
But that's not me saying that I'm going to let off the gas.
Mm-hmm.
This comes back to the balancing, right? Okay, I can't do book work right now. I can work on another area of my life,
Mm-hmm.
right? Maybe if I haven't exercised or if I haven't fed myself well enough, if I'm not as hydrated as I should be, maybe I need to do that, right? And so that way, when I come back at this, I'm in a better position. And fuck it, if I can't do it tonight, I'm gonna fall asleep. When I wake up at 1 in the morning, I'm gonna get up and I'm gonna do this, right? making effective use of all the time that you have is, and being flexible is better than having like a rigid, I guess, battle plan, you could say,
Hmm.
and just sticking to it just because, and kind of fucking yourself in the end. You lose the war even though you got through this little phase.
Yeah. I think like what you said about not having a rigid battle plan. I think
Hmm.
having a plan, like you and I have talked about this, right? Having a plan and being prepared is a good first step. But if you're not like this came from I don't know if it came from somewhere originally before I heard it from this place, but I heard this in the Flash TV show on the
Okay.
CW for the first time. This is where I heard it. It could have came from somewhere else,
All right.
but I heard it, and it's uh, this guy is helping the Flash team plan a heist, and he's breaking down the things that you have to do in terms of your planning process.
Hmm.
So the way he broke it down was make a plan, expect the plan to fail, execute the plan. Or no, it was make a plan, execute the plan, expect the plan to fail, make a new plan. And so like in terms of that, it's like go into a situation having a plan, but also expect to have to make a new one on the fly, which is
Hmm.
just adaptability like you're saying. But I think having a battle strategy going into it is going to make you far more successful because you'll know like you'll have objectives, and then if those don't work, being able to refocus and shift or move things around and put different things in different places is a fucking
Yeah,
skill.
you nailed it with the word objective, because I was gonna say, as you kind of look at this like strategy, right, from a large view,
Yeah.
you start to get these different levels of nuance to what needs to be done. And you're like, okay, well, maybe there's an order to this that's almost unseen. Like when
Yeah.
I'm looking at it on paper, I can't figure it out. But as we start going to through the motions, it's going to reveal to me, if I follow my intuition, okay, this is not working. And I have to be honest with myself. Like there's a level of like, I don't want to say humbleness, but humility,
Mhm.
right? Where you have to go, all right, rather than me just swinging for the fences and getting knocked out by this fucking immovable ass, Goliath that I'm standing in front of. Like maybe I need to like reposition myself and find something I can throw at it from a distance,
Yeah.
And so it sounds stupid that it might just be something as simple as food or
Mhm.
doing push-ups or going for a walk. Like, and you learn yourself, right? I learned myself on a different level and had to respect myself, in terms of my potential and my willingness to live up to that potential, right?
Mhm.
Through what I'm actually doing, you know? And what I'm not doing, I'm not giving myself credit for, right? I'm looking at it as like, okay, I did not check that box. Right now, my ability to get that done effectively isn't working. So I need to do something else in the meantime. And I need to get better, right? Is
Mhm.
this exercise actually getting me better? Is it making me, in my totality, the result that I'm looking for? And it's little things, like I had an epiphany about shaving the other day. Right now, you can see I have a little bit of 5 o'clock shadow, but I haven't come
Me
on with
too.
a ton of scruff like I have in the past for the last few weeks because I was shaving and I realized, like, and shout out to Joe Aguilar. It's almost like that always ready shit. If I stay ready, I don't have to get ready.
Yeah.
You know, it's not hard to shave if I shave every day.
Nope.
When I just have a little bit of stubble, if I just whoop, 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 I can do it. And the level of respect that you have for yourself is different.
Yeah.
It's like an honor and a dignity that you just carry with you in your character.
For real.
And it's like I don't need the fucking accolades from anybody else. I do this for me. So I know that like I'm living up to my own like expectations, constantly pushing that, farther. And that comes down to how I handle the little shit because I have such love for this world and for people and my purpose that it really isn't about me. Like I need to square myself away so I can work on the real task at hand, which is what I can provide
Yeah.
to this world, you know? And so the better my daily habits are, and my program is, the more balanced I am, at keeping myself centered, I can be a non factor. And now all of me can be dedicated to all of this stuff,
Yeah.
you know? Um, and it just makes life really fulfilling
For real.
because it eliminates a lot of those expectations that you project onto other people. You know, you respect that they're gonna do what they're gonna do, and I'm not gonna waver in my expectations on life, at all. And you're either if you're not helping, well, then you're not a factor in this, right? Like fuck that. You exist on a lower level, and I'm gonna try and bring you up to this level by making up for whatever deficit you're causing in your sector of this area, and that
Yeah.
in saying like your workplace, right? There's a lot of people that life's beat down, you know, and they have a low image of themselves, you know, and a very mundane lifestyle, I guess you could say. And so negative people, it's like I'm going to make up for that negativity even. I'm going to give such good service that this person being a crab ass over here isn't going to prevent this customer from feeling welcome, so to speak.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I kind of do the
And
same thing.
yeah, sometimes
And
I'm the crab ass too. We're all
yeah,
human, but you just gotta take accountability. Anyways, go on.
sometimes there's like sometimes there's people that are like that. Um, and those types of people I've noticed tend to like want to keep you down with them
Mm-hmm.
so that they feel better about where they are. And I'm like, this is kind of how I've been able to formulate the friend group that I have that's a pretty positive, encouraging one, is
Mm-hmm.
by noticing those people, the people that like aren't really there to like give you the best of them so that they can see you be the best that you can be, right? So like I give my best to my friends so that I can see them be the best that they can be, and I hope that they do the same,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so like looking for people who just want the best for you without anything without expecting anything in return. Uh Finding those types of people has improved my social circle by a fucking thousand times. One, because I had a very lacking, a very lacking social circle growing up, but as I've gotten older, I've been able to find like really solid fucking dudes to be around.
Mm-hmm.
So
And I
I
think you
think
said,
like, go ahead.
sorry, go on.
No,
No,
I
no.
was just a wrap up. Is pretty much.
Okay. I was. You really touched on something with other people kind of trying to get you to level. Um, and that's like if you walk into work and you go, "Hey, what's up, man?" Oh, same shit, new day, right? Like what a horrible answer. Like I'm not one of those people that that thinks like that, right?
Yeah.
Um, but while I was at work, I kind of had this other thing too, right? that I realized is when I'm working on my real estate schooling and stuff and having my vision and knowing that I'm constantly putting that effort towards it, I don't feel stuck here,
Mm-hmm.
right? So even though I'm doing this, like for instance, at my work, they have me take the trash out, right?
Mm-hmm.
So at the end of the day, I go around and I take everybody's trash out, right? Um, and it's kind of funny because that might be seen as like a low man on the totem pole job thing, right?
Yeah.
And like someone can ask you that and like almost gain that kind of expectation over time. And it's like if you're an employee, I guess, you're going to do it. But it's kind of funny because I don't see myself as an employee, right? I see this as like something I'm doing. So it's like, yes, I'm taking this out and I'll do it gladly. Why? Because I'm not doing this forever.
Yeah. Bro, I feel the same way.
I'm doing this with pride and I don't mind doing this. Why? Because my ability to do this without any kind of like remorse or second guessing or whatever, like you said, any hesitation is part of that character building, that's going to allow me to really make this other thing that I'm working on like come true. And by the time that I'm there, I'm so much of an asset that that team's just better.
Yeah. And another thing,
You
dude, is like, um, this goes back to Jocko, but a lot of other military stories that I've seen.
hmm
When Jocko was leading, um, I think it was,
Task unit cruiser.
yeah, Bruiser. When he was leading Bruiser, um, he would literally help clean up. He would, like, if he tried to take like his squad respected him as so much as a leader that when he tried to clean and do grunt work, which he did, he tried to do it all the time, they would stop him and be
hmm
like, yo, dude, that's not your job, bro. Let us do that type shit. And so it's like, as a leader, showing people that you're willing to do the fucking shit makes other people more willing to do the fucking shit instead of you, which is fucking powerful to begin with. But at the same time, um, never fucking look down at the person taking out the trash because you never know who it could be. Because in this Air Force base at one point, and I forgot the guy's name, he's a Medal of Honor recipient, and he retired from the Air Force, or it was Marines or something, Army, some branch of the military. I'm fucking it
Yeah,
up.
these are all very different branches,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
continue.
yeah, yeah. Anyways, he's seen active duty, and he had saved a bunch of people, and he got taken captive during this battle, right? So he was a prisoner of war. He was thought to be killed in action. So, and he received the Medal of Honor while he was air quote dead, but in prison in a war camp.
hmm
And he ends up getting released, and then he finds out that he earned the Medal of Honor. He retires from the service and starts working as a janitor at the Air Force base that he went to. It was an Air Force base. Confident in that.
Okay.
And so he was working in this base as a janitor, and none of the recruits or anybody around him that were like lower tiered, like new people and shit, um, they didn't know who the fuck he was. They're walking around a Medal of Honor recipient, one of the highest honors that any military person can get, and they're walking around him. And they don't even fucking know,
hmm
right? And so when they found out, they started asking him like, "Why are you a janitor and shit?" He's like, "I just want to be here. I just want to help out any way that I can." And so like, fuck it, bro. Take out the trash. you know?
yeah. I guess, man, I have such a different like reverence and respect for people in the military because, and just people that have, you know, put themselves in harm's way and been through some shit and are good people, you
Yeah.
know, solid motherfuckers. And I was kind of thinking about this because when they look at like survivability,
Hmm.
right? And like the fight, flight, and freeze response,
Yeah.
the less conditioned you are to like traumatic events and, you know, abnormal stressing situations, you're more apt to die when put under, you know, difficult circumstances because of your response to it.
Yeah.
And there's, you know, I was listening to, this is actually Jocko talking with Mike Glover about
We're
resilience.
talking a lot
You
about
know,
Jocko today.
yeah, Jocko, he's a huge influence, you
He
know,
is, dude. He's
and
got great fucking like philosophy on life. Fantastic.
well, he cuts the fat off of things,
For
you
real.
know, which I like. And lately, I've been kind of looking at the world a lot differently, um, because I realized that like part of transitioning from a boy to a man, right?
Hmm.
And that's happened extremely rapidly. Like I always thought I was grown and mature, and I think I was in comparison to a lot of people from a very early age. But I didn't understand what it really means, like what it costs you to be a man, and that means like what you give up out of your life, you know,
Hmm.
um, and that can be and is predominantly comfort. You know, you no longer require comfort to function. Um, you do things based on like their merits, you know, and the outcomes that they produce. Um, and you just do it with good intentions. So looking at um, being not just a provider but a protector um, in every way that I can requires me to demand more out of myself, not just with my immediate family, but seeing everybody in the world around me in a different light, where I still have love and reverence for you, but also I have to prioritize things differently, you know, because for the longest time, I would say yes to everything, you know,
Yeah.
and that would be like predominantly people just needing help from me and seeking it because I'm a highly capable individual. You know, you can give me some shit. If I can't do it, I'm resourceful or I know somebody who has that skill. Like,
Yeah, no
well,
shit. Holy shit, yeah, you do. It's actually fucking mind blowing sometimes. Like you'll be talking to like you'll tell me a story of someone saying, "Oh, I need to know I'm looking for this." And you're like, "I fucking got it." Like for example, the most recent one, I forget his relation to you, but you had called him on behalf or on his behalf to get my dad to go look at his house, right? He
yeah,
talked about wanting to paint the house and you're like, well, I fucking know a painter. And so it's like just shit like that. It's like you're actually fucking back to the gills with a fucking contact list. Like
yeah,
goddamn.
and and it's
Like your
just how you
Rolodex
keep.
is thick, dog. Your Rolodex is thick.
Well, I meet people on a different level than most people do.
Hold
I've
on.
always said I have a better
I have a small
relation.
idea that I want to tell you right now and then you can continue.
Drop
I'm
it.
sorry. It was just a creative thought popped into my head about what we should make your next like headshot to be. And it should
Mm.
be like uh Godfather style like cover. So black and white, harsh ass fucking shadows.
Yeah.
and you're sitting at a desk with a fucking Rolodex, and it's just the Don's got or fucking some catchy thing that you can come up with, like the Don knows everyone or some bullshit like that.
Hey, for real. I've been
Anyways,
telling people for a long time, that I'm the Don. And that's like, I think it's funny because it really stems from me just meeting people on a different level. I have a different kind of connection with people where as soon as I walk up to them, like people open up to me. And I think a lot of it is looking to be of service,
yeah,
and being observant and intelligent enough to just engage with somebody um, with respect. Like I have so much respect for you that I'm not gonna fucking hit you with surface level nonsense. I
yeah,
know your time is precious. You're here for a reason. I know that you're smart, so you probably have a damn good idea of what you're looking for. And if I can help point you in that direction, because I am a seeker myself, and that's what I want.
hmm,
And in the process of me just asking you some kind of straightforward questions and figuring out who you are and what you're about, well, that tells me how we can be useful to each other, you know?
facts.
And I don't think people really look at life that way. I think
Yeah,
they're more focused on looking cool than being cool, you
essentially
know?
like being a person of value, but the type of person of value that is willing to help other people.
It's almost like this, bro. If you can imagine somebody, this is the difference between looking cool and being cool, right?
Okay.
You can dress somebody in what is a cool outfit,
Yeah.
dress somebody as a successful individual, right?
Hmm.
And give them everything. Give them a Rolex watch, give them a tailored suit. I don't give a fuck. Give them a Go Yard bag, dress them with all kinds of rapper chains, whatever you want to do, right? And then you can have a motherfucker that's really been through some shit, that works on themselves daily, that is a holy person inside, you know? And that person with that reverence and that spirit that's full of life and loves life and respect and dignity and honor for whatever it is, good, bad, and otherwise, and
Hmm.
embraces themselves and all of it in totality, that person can stand there fucking naked, absolutely naked next to this person and look better with no assets, right?
Hmm.
Like, that's the difference of like, your clothes are wearing you. You're not wearing your clothes, right? And when you're cool, it's like I don't have to worry about being cool. I'm gonna approach you in such a way that you just resonate with it,
Yeah, I'm
right?
gonna do it my way. Essentially, I'm
Rather,
not gonna try and impress you or please you. I'm just gonna do it the way that I feel is the best for everybody.
yeah. And if you approach someone and you're so worried about being cool, there's almost like a layer between you and this person
Yeah,
in your mind, and you
because
can't
it's a
break through it.
separation thing at that point, right? Because if you're
Yeah,
like, oh, I'm gonna be cool for this person, well, then you might start thinking that you're like better than them and type shit, and start treating people like you're not cool.
bro, I used to have that type of shit, like I used to really be insecure, and
I still
I
am.
I I think a lot of it was like it made me like I felt so violated by life that I was
Yeah.
like angry. You know what I mean? I was angry and I didn't want people to see how uncomfortable I was. And it was almost like I started putting that off on people, and it would come out like I got spanked by my own actions.
Yeah, for real.
You
It
know,
does come back, dude. It's like it's
I got
weird.
spanked. It's like when you're trying to act hard and you're like, I remember so vividly. I was late to a fucking, um, what's it called? when they call all the kids in the auditorium and they're doing the
Assembly.
thing, an assembly. Yeah, so I'm
Yeah.
late to the assembly because I was smoking weed and fucking. So I'm
Sick.
walking in. Yeah, dude, I'm sick, bro. I got my Tupac shirt. Fuck,
Yeah, it's
fuck,
like,
no,
fuck the world, dog. It's my
yeah,
world.
yes, bro. Thug life in this bitch. I
I
smell like
run
a
this
blunt.
shit.
Everyone knows I got weed on me and some more shit. And I'm just walking into the fucking auditorium. I'm all late. So everyone sees me walking up and I'm doing it. I feel like a fucking thug. And then I trip. You know what I mean? Like,
That's how
that's
it
like,
happens.
that's how it happens, bro. And it's just like humbling shit like that where you're like, fuck, bro, I gotta have some humility
Hold on,
about
how'd you
that.
play it off? How'd you play it off?
Well, I just, bro, I laughed it off. Like, I'm a
You're like,
funny. So like at a certain point, like I think what I tried to do was I tried to sit like with whoever I fell on. Like I just tried to sit on the lap and just be like, "Oh shit, sorry, my bad, dog." And then see you sitting there, like, shit. You know. So to the people around me, it was kind of funny, but there was no way that that wasn't an absolute like stooge move. You know, where everyone was like, "Are you kidding me?" And all I can tell you is, even if people didn't look at me, you know, if people were paying no kind of attention to me, I felt like my temperature in my body went up a million degrees.
Yo,
You
Kemp,
know
that's anxiety.
what,
That's what anxiety is. It's you in a crowded room thinking everybody's looking at you when they're not.
bro? Then I had high levels of anxiety when I was younger.
That's that. I've been trying to explain to you what anxiety feels like. It's that.
Oh, okay.
That's
Well,
exactly
shit.
what it is.
Yeah, in my youth, bro, I was like, I always felt like I was being watched, no matter what I did.
That's
Even
anxiety,
when I
bro.
was, you know, and I would walk around with that shit, and I was like, when someone would
It's your
come
Gucci
across
man.
my path and point it out, you know, or expose it, that was when I gotta fuck you up now,
Yeah,
you
I gotta
know.
fight you now.
Yeah, bro. Like I was on some shit like that where I would just bug out, bro, and be like, "Fuck though," you know. I would trip.
Fuck.
Um, yeah, dude. That's why I was like, I was kind of like a volatile person to be around. Although I was always a very loving person at the same time. Like I just wanted to kick it and have fun, but
Yeah.
I would just go off, bro. And
Fuck.
yeah, I didn't have as a very respectful way of dealing with people once I felt violated. I
Yeah.
felt like I had to do shit back to you, you know?
A lot of people feel
Uh,
like they have to do that, whether it's through violence or fucking other means.
yeah,
It's
oh yeah,
like,
just
like,
talking
bro,
shit,
fucking
whatever.
humans are savages, bruh.
Yeah.
Savages. Like,
And I was down to be savage, like until
yeah,
until I started to like see the I could see the full picture of it, you know? Like I started seeing the cause and effect, and that I was kind of like the underpinning of a lot of this shit and just like karmic circles. And
bro. Sorry, but this is another crazy thought.
yeah.
There's this like documentary series on Netflix that you need to watch. It's about the social like hierarchy and like a this troop of chimps,
Hmm.
and it tells a story, and it's fucking beautiful. But after saying that humans are savages, and then saying that you were a savage, I started like creating a troop of chimps, and then putting you in as a chimp and how you would behave around all other chimps as like this like violent fucking little like monster of a chimp going around and just like fucking with everybody, and then eventually becoming that one wise old chimp that fucking just chills.
Well, yeah, that's kind of how it is, you
Yeah,
know. But
literally.
the interesting thing, bro, is like there's something about being an alpha um in a primal sense like that, right?
Hmm.
while you're still while you feel in competition, you know, that um there's it's almost like you would punk somebody and then flaunt your victory in front of them for like status. And it would just be like how chimps, I guess, probably fight and then show like the chick that they're dominant and then they're like the cool guy. And then
Well,
they walk
bro,
around like the fucking man. You know what I mean?
what
And it's
they
that
do
same.
to what they do to assert their dominance, which is it's not even violent. Yeah, it usually doesn't end in violence, depending on like how much respect he's got in the troop. Anyways, they'll start running and like pulling trees down and fucking breaking shit and like a show of like strength, like how much damage they can do to the forest and shit to
Yeah,
assert their dominance.
that's
It's fuck
crazy.
yeah. It
But
is
yeah,
wild.
that's kind of like what it is. You know, you're like, all right, I'm gonna fuck some shit up, and
Yeah.
then you guys can see what the fuck I'm talking about. You know,
Word.
like yeah, and that's kind of like that's the like destructive side of it, right?
Mhm.
And then the other side of it is like this is where you get into like tactics and when you're looking at like things from a more respect driven standpoint um based on like the community as a whole where it's like I guess as men it can be almost like I don't need every chick to look at me, you
Yeah.
know. I know that chicks are gonna look at me, but I got my chick, right? So it's like, um, rather than me walking around and like showboating, it's like I'm gonna lay back and find the dude that's kind of fucking up the program for everybody else, you know,
Mhm.
and we're gonna orchestrate a way to take that motherfucker out because he might be bad on his own, but he's not badder than all of us, right?
That's true.
And you know,
That's really fucking true.
that's kind of like how people in like prison think,
Mhm.
right? How shit is a numbers game, right?
Yeah.
And when you start looking at kind of life from different angles, it can be really interesting, but you can kind of like dumb it way down to um, security. Like when you walk around with a sense of security and you see things that other people don't see, you have a confidence that they can't chisel away at because they can't touch it.
Mhm.
You know, they don't really know what it is, and every now and again, something will some instance will expose a chink in your armor and a deficit in your character. You know, something that you still haven't reconciled and balanced out, and that's the shit that you got to just take note of and work on and continue forward and better yourself, you know, and just look at it and go, okay, that's what it is. Rather than me going the destructive route of like, okay, now no one can have fun. I'm not having fun. No one can have fun anymore. I'll fuck it up for everybody,
Yeah.
you know? And you just go, okay, all right, nice shot, I guess. That's where that's what I gotta work on. Not seeing it as such a knock on yourself. But
Yeah.
do you have any kind of closing thoughts on this? I feel like this has been a good podcast, like a
This
strange
has
way
been
of
a good
talking
one.
about, balance.
Yeah. Balancing your life and your spirit, your mind, your soul,
Yeah.
everything. I think that's it.
All right. That's closing. We'll catch
Hell
y'all
yeah.
next week. We're almost to 100
Oh
motherfuckers.
yeah, 8 more. Let's go, baby. Peace.